You ever look at the stock market today and just think, wow, a handful of giant tech companies pretty much run everything? It really feels that way, doesn't it? But here's the big question. Is this level of dominance by just a few names something totally new? Or have we seen this movie before? Let's dig in.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to talk about the stocks that rule the world today. Then, we'll hop in a time machine back to the 1970s to meet their ancestors, so to speak. After that, we'll uncover a really important cautionary tale. And finally, we'll put the data side by side to see just how similar these two moments in time really are. Okay, first up, let's talk about right here, right now. There's this group of companies so powerful, so dominant, that they've earned a nickname straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster, the Magnificent Seven. People often call these the one-decision stocks, and the thinking goes like this. They're so deeply a part of our daily lives, and their growth seems so unstoppable that the only decision an investor really needs to make is, well, to just buy them. It's a super powerful and, a very popular idea right now. And here they are. I mean, every single one of these names, right? Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, and Tesla. They are literally the phone in your pocket, the software on your laptop, the engine behind the AI revolution, you name it. Their influence is just everywhere. But this feeling of complete invincibility, it might just sound a little familiar if you look back through history. And that brings us perfectly to our next part. We're going to see if this whole pattern, a few superstar stocks that everyone loves and everyone owns, has a historical precedent. Have we been here before? And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? When everybody seems to agree that something is a sure thing, is that maybe the exact time to step back and ask if we've seen this play out before? Well, the answer takes us back about 50 years.
So let me introduce you to the Nifty 50. Back in the late 60s and early 70s, this was a group of top-tier blue-chip stocks that were seen as absolutely unstoppable. Think about it. Just like Microsoft today, IBM was the undisputed king of computing back then. The groundbreaking tech from companies like Polaroid and Xerox felt every bit as revolutionary as Nvidia and Tesla feel to us.
You've probably heard this quote before, and it is the perfect way to look at this. We're not expecting an exact carbon copy repeat of the past. Nope. What we're listening for are the rhymes, the similar investor psychology, that same belief in growth at any price, and the way the market gets concentrated into just a handful of can't-miss stocks. So what happened to those original one-decision stocks? Well, their story is a pretty powerful warning about what can happen when that market-wide optimism gets pushed to its absolute limit. Let's be really clear about what these companies were. Just like the tech titans of today, the Nifty 50 were seen as buy 'em and forget 'em investments. You could hold them forever. These were amazing companies with proven track records. The core belief was that you can never overpay for a great business because its future growth would always eventually make the price a bargain.
But that belief, man, it was about to face the ultimate test. At the top of the market in 1972, these stocks were flying sky high. And then, the crash of 1973-74 hit. It was sudden, it was brutal, and it completely shattered that illusion that these stocks could only go up. By the time the dust settled, the entire landscape looked totally different.
And just look at how severe it got. We're not talking about a small correction here. Companies like Polaroid, Xerox, the innovative darlings, the Nvidias of their day, lost between 60 and 90% of their value. It's just proof that even the best, most dominant companies on the planet weren't safe when that bubble finally popped. Okay, so that brings us all the way back to today. We've heard the story, we've heard the echo from the past. Now let's look at the cold, hard data to see just how loud that echo really is. To do this, we've got to understand a really key idea: market concentration. All this means is how much of the entire stock market's value is packed into just its biggest companies. See, when concentration is high, it means the fate of the entire market is riding on the shoulders of just a few giants. So here it is, the critical question. What does that concentration look like right now, with the Magnificent Seven leading the charge? The answer is around 36%. Just let that sink in for a second. Only 7 companies make up more than a third of the value of the entire S&P 500. That is a truly staggering level of concentration. Now, let's put that number into its historical context. This chart here compares the market concentration today with the peak of the Nifty 50 mania back in 1972. And as you can see, well, the levels are almost identical. It's kind of eerie, isn't it? That rhyme we were talking about before, it's starting to sound more like a shout.
So we have to end on this one. Big question. Are today's tech giants fundamentally different? Now, people who say yes will argue that they are way more profitable, with a global reach that the Nifty 50 could only dream of. But are those differences enough to guarantee a different outcome, especially when we see the same patterns of investor psychology and market concentration? Or are we just living inside an echo? The data shows the parallel is there. What happens next? Well, that's the chapter that hasn't been written.